thanks for the invite, and great to be here. And that was a nice segue. So the fighting part might be a little tough because my best friend of 2010 is right here next to me. But we had a small business that started out of a one-bedroom apartment in Seattle several years back. And as we grew, we needed more space. So just last year, we were able to purchase about a 5-acre commercial property in San Leandro, where we reside now. So this was the SBA loan that Mark had helped us with. So it was a huge deal for a very small business that over the years would grow slowly and then move up into a real commercial property that was formerly owned by East Bay Mud and it was originally built by Frito-Lay, large company, and it was a distribution center for all those great snack foods like Doritos and Fritos and nachos and so on. So we were able to take over that building that was unused by East Bay Mud. They had some other plans. They're building some water pumping stations there that didn't happen. So they put the property on the market. And so the SBA loan for us was critical in being able to make that work. It wouldn't have happened without the SBA loan and without Mark's help. So it was a really good thing for us to be able to take it to that next level and keep our business growing. And so what we do is we have a kind of a specialty market within the wind industry. We supply remanufactured commercial scale wind turbines, which the world's major manufacturers don't supply anymore. So if you're a wind farm developer and you wanted to build a wind farm, you'd be looking at acquiring 2 to 3 megawatt wind turbines at a cost of maybe $4 to $6 million each machine. So the wind farms of the world today use much larger machines than they used to a decade ago. So we have a market space that's kind of unique in the wind industry, in that it supplies turbines to commercial entities looking for smaller turbines. So it could be a turbine that can produce enough electricity for 20 to 50 to 100 houses, and not the huge, large turbine that would produce enough electricity for maybe 500 houses. So that's kind of what the scale down is. And there's still a market that's looking for those turbines, but they're not served by the world's major manufacturers, who have been every year building larger and larger machines. So that's what our business supplies. And again, thanks for the invite, and thanks to Mark for the loan. So I don't know about the fighting.
Just the end.
Yeah. Well, we're I think 29 years to go. So they're a little faster.
Good. Well, we've got a good collection of perspectives here, and so I think that we're going to have a good discussion. And so I guess I'm going to start with the first question, which is on our list, which is really more about the clean tech space as an investment opportunity, which is where is the opportunity in the clean tech space? And Louis, maybe you should start. I think you're going to be a little bit biased, but I think you can tell us a little, kind of where you think kind of the financing opportunities are from your perspective, which I think is going to be on the wind side, is my guess. But maybe you're seeing a different story. But I think each panelist will have a good perspective on where is the investment opportunity, both for you from your individual perspective, what you're doing your deals in, but just generally what are you seeing?
Yeah, well, there's been a huge change in the last 5 years, or roughly about 5 years. And I've been doing, growing this small business for about 10 years. So over 5 years ago, I started to notice a significant shift when I would travel around the country to work on projects. So I could be, in Iowa or New York State or wherever we were supplying a turbine. And the last few years, probably about the last 4 or 5 years, I really noticed a difference when I would travel and be in some small town, get the local paper while I was there for a project. And I started it became impossible to be anywhere and not see an article somewhere about clean tech, green energy, global warming, so it kind of, I could see that the awareness was reaching this critical mass level. And that wasn't the case when I first started doing what I was doing. You had to go looking for the information. You had to, there were solar panels, there were wind turbines, the technology was there, but you had to go looking for it a little bit more. It wasn't on many non-related corporate advertisements or commercials. There's the last 2 or 3 years, there's any number of insurance companies, oil companies, you name it, they'll have a wind turbine or a solar panel as part of their advertising. So that's relatively new still, maybe 2 or 3 years old, maybe 4, but 5 years and further, it wasn't there. So in terms of the opportunity, there's no one opportunity. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity in whatever field you can probably think of. Yes, wind energy is still the lowest cost per kilowatt. It's harder to find a good home for a wind turbine. It's much easier to find a good home for solar panels, but they cost more per kilowatt. So wind will continue to be a dominant force because it's the lowest cost per kilowatt. As there's new technology that may change, I don't see it changing in the next several years. Solar has been coming down, but then so has wind. And there's so many new areas. So I don't see one. I see just a huge potential field that wasn't there 5+ years ago. Really, it's pretty new in terms of the amount of attention that it's been receiving.
Mark, from the SBA side, you mentioned 2 kind of transactions you've recently done. One is in Lewis's firm in terms of getting that facility. The other is actually, it sounds like a PV on the PV for a particular existing company, right? So one is in the clean tech space, you're just getting them quality real estate. The other play is providing, financing the actual energy infrastructure.
Yes.
Where's the biggest investment opportunity for SBA to kind of play a role in financing clean tech? And where are you seeing the most promising deals? Where's the most potential for specifically for SBA funding, but then generally as you see it from Wells Fargo Partners perspective?
But remember, the SBA financing, we don't do R&D financing. It's really designed for startup at the early stage to growing company like Lewis's to very mature companies. When you approach SBA lenders, just know that typical SBA underwriter, I was an underwriter many years ago, we're like 5 years behind. So you're at the cutting edge of this industry, you know what's happening. So I think it's really important to set the right expectations, and you really need to do the job of educating the underwriter. For example, Lois did a wonderful job. My underwriter spent probably an hour with him because we were used to financing more traditional service-oriented, product-oriented businesses. So when it comes to a company like his, from an underwriter perspective, wow, this is fascinating, but I don't know anything about it. So he did a great job of selling himself, I think, and educating the underwriter. I do see a huge opportunity, over the next several years in the SBA world. As a banker, I'm excited to finance industries like this. Why? Because to illustrate a point, Wells Fargo's SBA, even though we're the #1 SBA lender in the country by far, combined number 2 through 10, we still do more loan volume, SBA volume, than the number 2 through 10 banks. We do about close to $2.5 billion worth of SBA financing per year. That places us #1 by far. But in the eye of Wells Fargo's school structure, that's less than 1% of our annual loan volume. We do other kind of financing as well. But the fact that we're #1 SBA lender in the eye of Wells Fargo president is a just amazing press for him, because President Obama congratulates him, invites him to Washington, D.C. for